And apparently, in 12 hours from now, WURST is going to be just as packed as it is right now. So you might as well just stay here for the day. I've had their lunch, it's fantastic, and lots of good food, and I hear they serve beer here. Just a rumor though. My name is Kevin Hayes, and I'll be talking to you just for a little bit. We've got a really cool lineup this morning on storytelling. I've chatted with some of you, and lots of people are here to learn about how to tell their story better. So we've got Tim Shaw from Amplify, and he's going to do some cool stuff. Yes! Any first-timers to social media breakfast? Holy Christmas. So, can I ask you a question? What brought you out here?
Learning more about social media and connecting with people.
Connecting with people. And do you do social media right now?
A little bit at it.
No, not very good. What do you think would make you good at it?
Learning how it's done.
Ah, yes. Learning how to be good is a good character trait. What do you do for work?
I'm a mobile developer.
Fantastic. So how do you think social media will help mobile development?
First to market myself, and then second to market my products. Right now, my shameless plug, I have an application that allows university students sell their used textbooks locally to each other.
Do I get a kickback from that now? Cool. Social media to sell some stuff. You been at a social media breakfast before?
No, this is my first one.
Is it? And sorry, who are you?
My name is Dan Wojnowski. I run Macklin Ford.
You run Macklin Ford?
Yeah, I drive around. No, I do their whole online presence, everything from inventory to Facebook and Twitter.
Fantastic. Does anybody converse with Macklin Ford online on Twitter? But lots of people read it. Very good point. Just because people aren't conversing doesn't mean they're not reading what you're saying. And how has digital media helped you at Macklin Ford?
I'm just kind of connecting with people and talking about their cars. I mean, we love cars, and anything we can do to spread that love. Hopefully it'll come back to us. We're not looking to sell cars. We figure that you'll come to us when you need them.
Oh wow, not looking to sell cars, just build relationships. Very social media. So anybody have any cool stories around the Christmas holidays? Maybe had a little too much turkey and got on the Twitter prematurely, or any good stories from New Year's? Nothing that nobody wants to admit? I'm not going to pull up anybody's tweets from New Year's on my screen, although I had thought about it. So, social media breakfast. For those of you guys who are new here, social media breakfast happens once a month, and in this particular format, we hang out at a place and they feed us. And really, what this whole experience is about is having digital media and social media professionals in the same area, networking and talking to each other, and all boats rise in a tide, right? So if we can all kind of increase our social media expertise, then through networking and hearing cool people like Tim Shaw talk, then we'll only increase the quality of our industry. This is brought to you by is Donna McTaggart. Who knows Donna McTaggart? Yeah, Donna McTaggart has an organization called Chaos Consulting, and they help implement accounting systems into your organization. So her business is called Chaos Consulting, and you can find her on Twitter at DonnaMCT. So we've got a really cool food sponsor today. They're called Elevate Auctions, and what they do is they fundraise is the short word for it, but they fundraise in really cool ways, and they help nonprofits, actually any organization, raise dough. And so very valuable to nonprofits and people who need money. So I'm going to stop talking about them and introduce you to Bill and let him blab on about them.
Thanks very much, Kevin. I'm Bill Brown from Elevate Auctions, and I just want to ask one question. How many ladies would like an all-expenses trip to Saks Fifth Avenue, Chicago? Okay, that's good. That's roughly kind of what we do. Elevate Auctions was formed about 4 years ago, and we're a family business, third-generation auctioneer family. So what we've done, we've donated over the years, and 3-4 years ago we noticed that there's definitely a need for a full-service auction company that only offers unique services to nonprofits only. It's one of the only businesses I've found model in Canada that does that. So I'm going to be quick because I know we have a big agenda. I'll tell you a bit about the services. One of the best and most popular services have been our consignment merchandise. So we search for merchandise all over the world, and we've got some great contacts through the experience that we have. To give you an example, Rolling Stones guitar, autographed by all of them. We'll secure this item, we'll consign it to a charity, and we'll send our auctioneers out to sell it for them. It may have a no-risk price of, say, $3,000, and if we get $10,000 for it, the charity gets $7,000. If we don't get $3,000, we put it back into inventory and move it to another event. Seldom happens because we study the crowd, we study what they like, we study the age, and we use social media a lot to let people know where these unique items are going to be. So that's a lot of fun. That's one area. Auctioneers and professional spotters for fundraising events only. We train them to work fundraising events. They're a lot different than an auto auction, which I did for 25 years. So they're different. It's a little more fun. You want some entertainment value, but you want to raise some money for the charities. We work the no-risk in so we don't have to charge big fees. So the no-risk actually helps pay in a barter system for what we do. So if you consign 12 items or more, you can take 50 items if you like. If you consign 12, we donate our auctioneers and our spotters and our consultation. That's one service. We also have online auctions, and we've conducted well over 100 of them over the last 4 years. They're fantastic, and once again, social media is so important to those to let people know what you're doing and to drive people to your particular sale. On our online, you get your own page, it's your own event. We've created the software, and then we just manage it for you from start to finish. So that's worked very well. Consultation, we'll consult on any fundraiser you're having. We'll bring different and new raffle ideas, such as our Fund a Need, which has been very popular. Heads or tails. How many people have done heads or tails draws? No? It's a great way to do it. Better than a 50-50 is you get to keep all the money. So when you're raising money, that's what you want to do. And the people love it because it's interactive. Basically, it's a coin toss. People pick their heads or their tails, and you eliminate them real quickly and then give them a nice prize that's donated. So you keep all the cash. It's better than 50-50. Anyway, our website is elevateauctions.com. There's some cards up here. This is a sample of probably 500 different items we have. We have trips, we have jewelry, NASCAR. We also go to local businesses, and if they want to promote their product, we will promote their product at certain events. We have a partnership agreement. We come out and see if it's suitable, and we can offer and promote your business at some of the best fundraising events in Calgary. Last year, we did work for over 250 events. So it's been great. What I'm going to do today, though, and this is kind of fun, I'll do it quickly. We're going to have a very quick live auction of 2 items. And here's what we're going to do. Whoever buys the item can choose the charity of their choice, and we'll send the money, we'll donate the money on your behalf to that charity. So if you're the high bidder, and you want to donate it to Kids Cancer Care, we will donate whatever you bid to Kids Cancer Care for that amount. There's no fees or anything. Anyway, and what we're going to do, I am glad the Flames are back. I know a lot of people are worried about the lockout and whatnot, but I'm a Flames ambassador, and I see what they do in the community every year. They spend millions, the players and the owners. Flames Rotary House, some of the best arenas. So they do wonderful things for the community. So, what we're going to do right now, we have 2 Flames jerseys. We have a men's right here, it's a men's large, and we have a ladies large. Okay? We're going to auction one off. You pick. If you want the ladies, take the ladies. If you want the men's, take the men's. But we're going to sell them both. Okay? But we're selling one right now. So your choice, ladies or men's. So here we go. And what we'll do, you can pay by credit card. Just see Teresa right up here. If you're the high bidder, see Teresa. She'll take care of it. Get your information and the charity you want to donate to. So here we go. All right, what do you say? You bid about 100, who bid 50, who bid $25, and 25, 50, there we go, 50, 50, I got 50, now 75, it's 7,500, thank you, now 100, 75, 1, I've got 75, how about 85, it's 75, 85, 85, 75, 85, 100, and she's weakening, 85, 100, and 85, 85, men's or ladies, 85, 100, and 85, 85, 90, I'll take 90, now 100, and 90, 100, don't miss your turn, I'm from Saskatchewan, I get all mixed up, at 90 bid, 100, at 90, sold. Gentleman buys right here, Teresa, $90. Give him a big hand. $90, $90. Now, folks, I do want to mention too, these were donated by the Calgary Flames earlier this year, so that's great, and the price tags are on them, so I'm pretty sure you can exchange them. So gentleman buys here at $90. You take the men's? Women's, actually. No, he takes the women's. He bought it for his wife. Give him a big hand. That's great. So the ladies is gone. The ladies is gone. Now we're going to sell the men's large. Men's large right now. All right? And also, folks, when we do these auctions, our auctioneers are trained. If by chance you're paying too much for an item, we'll stop you from bidding. You guys don't really believe that. I know there's some car guys here, they don't believe that. I'm just kidding. Let's now. Ladies and gentlemen, here we go. A little bit of 100. Who bid 50? $50. Men's large, 75. I got 50 bids, 75. And 75, 100. And 70, 85. We've done this before. 70, 85, now 100. And 85, and also in this deal, you got to be last to win. 85, 90. And 85 at the buy, 90, 85 at the 90. $90, 85, 90. Kevin, 90. There's no pressure here. At 85, 90. I'm in 85 in the corner. Donna, 90, now 100. I'm 100, 110. At 110, 110. Got to do it again. 110, 120. At 120 is there. At 120, sir, did you hear what she said about you? At 120. At 110, going to be 120, 120, yes. At 110, 120, 130. At 120, 130, 140. At 130, now it doesn't matter. Go ahead. 130, 140. At 130, 140, 140, 130, If you don't understand what I'm saying, I'll tell you later. At 130, 140. At 130, anybody else? 130, 140. Sold. Donna, thank you. $130, there you go. $130, Donna buys. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, a pleasure to come out and meet some of you. If you ever can get a chance, check out elevateauctions.com, and we hope we see you again soon. Thank you. Have a great day.
That was fantastic. Social media breakfast meets auctioneers, little storage wars feel to that. Elevate Auctions, you can find them at elevateauctions.com, or you can find them on Twitter at Elevate Auctions. Worst, who's been here before? Yes, my slide indicates that they serve beer and delicious food as well. However, it is the next month is the month of love, and you and your little missus can have a little Valentine's Day weekend here at WURST. So I imagine you do something like call and reserve, or maybe you just show up with the lady, and or just show up with your buddies. It doesn't matter. They'll take you in any form or fashion, I'm sure. So this is the 36th social media breakfast, and we've missed a couple. We usually shut down for Christmas and maybe skip one in the summer, but we've been around for 3 years. And so 3 years ago, a gentleman named Scott Baird and Alex Poda from McHugh Designs, where's Scott? There he is. Started this little venture, and has been quite successful ever since. I think the first, how many people were at the first social media breakfast?
There's about 30 people there.
30 or 20, eh? And then now we've got, on average, we've got 100 and anywhere between 120 people here. And why did you start this?
I was one of the first founding members in the Minneapolis version of social media breakfast, and so when I came back here, I just missed the whole scene, so started it up.
Brought the love from Minneapolis to Calgary. Well, we're very grateful for you doing that, and Scott is with McHugh Design still, yes, is that right?
It actually, we changed names, we're Engine 51 now.
Engine 51, all right. Well, apparently somebody needs to dig their facts up a little more, but Scott, thanks for hanging with us, and thanks for starting this. And can we give him a little round of applause? All right, let's move this thing along here. Okay, so can we just give a big thank you out to WURST, Elevate Auctions, and Donna McTaggart for hosting us today. Let's take 30 seconds to jump on our mobile devices and tweet out thank you at WURST Calgary, at Elevated Auctions, and at Donna MCT, and thanks for hosting and feeding us at SMByyc. Are we good? Can I move? Can we move this train? I am not. Silence is a form of yes. So, past sponsors. Thanks everybody for who supported us in the past. As we've had a really bunch of cool people support us in the past. We've got ongoing sponsors such as Chaos and Matrix, MarketWire. They are always pushing out press releases. They have a wicked social media monitoring tool called Heartbeat. If you want to get a hold of anybody in the social media breakfast committee, there's all our names. We've got Donna McTaggart at the very end back there. We've seen her. Hello, Donna. Mike Spear, who's not here. Catherine, where are you hanging out? Catherine's right at the back corner there. I'm Kevin Hayes. Des is not here. Is Heather Isley here? And Crystal DeCogner, where are you hanging? Oh, she's right here. So if you have any questions about social media breakfast, you can talk to them. We're always looking for sponsors for future social media breakfast events. So if you are interested in sponsoring, there's two ways you can do it. One is by food sponsor. So you're the person that supplies us with $350, and then we go and we get food to feed everybody here. The second way you can sponsor events is by providing a venue, and we need a venue for somewhere around 120 people. As I said, we get 80 to 120 people at these things. So if you're interested in doing any of that, that also includes no extra cost, me talking nice about you for a few seconds. If you're interested in any of that, come see me or any one of the crew. You can find us on social media breakfast. You can find us on Twitter at SMByyc. If you're going to tweet from today, which is highly encouraged, please use a hashtag SMByyc. Is there anybody not on Twitter? It's okay? It is okay. One more time, is there anybody who's not on Twitter? Oh. All right. We also have SMByyc in Edmonton, which is held the last Friday of every month. So, let me, I want to introduce, I'm missing a slide here. Where's Mr. Sandhurst? Sean Sandhurst. There he is. So has anybody heard of the charity app that's going on that the Calgary Herald is putting on? Okay, well, I'm actually not going to talk about it. But Sean Sandhurst is just going to say a couple of words about it. And I don't know what your slide is, Sean, my apologies.
I didn't want to speak, I just wanted to show a slide. Good morning, at Sean Sandhurst. Essentially, the Calgary Herald is one of the top sponsors for something called the Charity App Challenge. Has anybody heard of a hackathon? Yes? It's a lot of fun. Essentially, there was a mobile app developer I heard hiding around in here. Essentially, what we're doing is collecting a whole bunch of app developers, and we're going to put them in a room, a fairly large room, for 48 hours, and the challenge is to develop an app for local charities. There's about 10 charities that will benefit from this. It's all stemming from something called the Christmas Fund that the Herald does manage, which actually, the final announcement of how much we raised, which I can't divulge at this time, but Tuesday is the big announcement, so look in the Herald or online for that. But if you would like to join us, either as a volunteer or as an app developer, there's a cash prize for the winner for whatever team wins, and that is over the weekend of February 2nd and 3rd. So come see me or tweet me and send me a note at Sean Sandhurst, or go to calgaryherald.com, Charity App Challenge. Oh, sorry, YYC Charity App. Charity Hack is the Twitter handle. Thank you to Megan of the agency. She's actually tweeting now, so thanks so much. Have a great Friday.
Cool. All right. Thanks, Sean Sandhurst from the Calgary Herald, pumping the charity app. So we're going to get on to our speaker today, and so his name is Mr. Shaw. That's the formal way we'll call him. He's from an organization called Amplify. They do brand advocacy and they do brand advocacy work and work around storytelling. So he's moved here just in July. So he's a new Calgarian, and he's come out here to open his, to bring Amplify out into Western Canada. But the one thing that I really dig about Tim, and the one thing that I really think is cool about his digital media presence, is that if you go to his LinkedIn profile, you just do a search on LinkedIn for Tim Shaw, or just Google Tim Shaw LinkedIn, he's got a whole bunch of really cool slides that are brought in from SlideShare on how to use social media for media relations and a bunch of other cool stuff. He also was an organizer for TEDx Silicon North, instructor for Durham College. He taught social media course. He's also had roles in, I know everybody here, or most people know about the IABC, so quite qualified to come up here and talk to us. Excited to hear what he has to say. So let's give a big warm welcome for Tim Shaw.
I have to swap my computer, so. So this is pretty incredible that 130 people signed up for this presentation. That absolutely blew me away. So thank you all for coming up. Thank you very much. Now I feel like I should qualify that by saying I was actually born in Calgary. I lived here until I was 10, and then moved to Toronto when my dad got transferred. He was with Imperial Oil, so it's more actually of a homecoming than anything else for me back to Calgary. Which when we drove across Canada, coming out of Saskatchewan into Alberta, and you see the hills start to roll, and I felt like it was right. So I'm glad to be back. All right, I'm going to sort of hover around my laptop because I don't have the best memory and I need some speaking notes here, so I'll probably wander around a little bit. So today we're going to talk about storytelling, how Amplify uses an advocacy approach in social media and the role that storytelling plays in that, and I'll sort of walk through some of the strategy we use and how you guys can use that in your organizations. Now, how many of you work for nonprofits? So there's a few. We at Amplify do work with a number of nonprofits. This presentation isn't geared only at nonprofits. I just believe that nonprofits have so many incredible stories to tell, and they just often, because of staff, resources, and time, they don't collect those stories and tell them properly. So hopefully this will help you put some structure around that a little bit. I'm going to start with just a little bit about me. I've got a bulldog named Ruby. Before I moved out here, she came to work with me every day and provided moral support. She's not allowed in the co-working space I'm in anymore, which breaks my heart. But she's a fantastic dog. I also have included the hashtag and my Twitter handle at the bottom of the slides, so feel free to tweet away at any point in the presentation. I'm not one of those people who thinks the phones need to go away, which still blows my mind when you hear that. So I work for a company called Amplify. We use inspired communications for meaningful change. My focus is more on the advocacy online side. We also do corporate social responsibility consulting. And when I say advocacy, we do some of the legislative and policy change work, but we also do the cause and social advocacy around behavior change and getting a cause, an action around a cause out into a community. So today we're going to be talking about advocacy, about social media, and really more about storytelling and how that fits into advocacy and what it is that you're all trying to achieve. So our advocacy approach is basically summed up by 3 words: inform, involve, inspire. And these are the steps that we follow when we're putting together social media strategies or advocacy plans. And so the first step is inform, and it really has 2 parts. The first is informing yourself and putting together a strategy, and the second part is informing your audience. Now, I know that this presentation is about storytelling, but I feel like there really is a need to talk a little bit about putting together the strategy that will lead into how you tell the story and how you use social media to communicate. So I'm going to touch on all the areas. Now, I know that we only have, I think, 25 or 30 minutes, so I'll try and be pretty quick. So the first part about informing yourself and informing your strategy is making sure that you set the right goals, which means that you have to really know why you're there, why you're participating. So take a step back, look at what your organization does and what it is that you're trying to achieve, and really be honest with yourself. A lot of groups will sort of set goals that are unachievable. They don't have the time, they don't have the money, they just don't have the resources to achieve it. So really be honest with yourself when you're asking what it is that you want to achieve using social media and advocacy. Once you know what it is you want to achieve, you have to find your audience. Now, I've talked to so many people over the years, I can't even tell you, who say, well, my audience isn't on social media. That's kind of hard for me to believe right now. They might not be on Twitter, but they might be on Facebook, or they might be on YouTube, or they might be using message boards, but they're online somewhere. So it's important for you to figure out who your audience is, and then where they are online. So in order to achieve your goals, and I mean, you guys might have a good idea of who your audience is already. You know, okay, we send out newsletters to our members. These people buy our products, and we have these people that are supporters. But when you look at what you have to achieve in terms of objectives, that audience might shift. Now, when we look at audience in terms of advocacy, there are multiple levels. So there are the people who are the influencers who make decisions around policy, or if they endorse a cause, then more people are going to get behind it. So that's sort of the end goal audience. Then there are those that influence the influencers, sort of the grassroots level that are going to take the message up to your decision makers and really help mobilize that change. So you have to look at who those different groups are. Are they using social media, and where are they? Part of informing yourself in your strategy is looking at what's happening right now. So this includes not just knowing your audience and where they are and who they are, but who else is in social media. Do you have friends or foes? Are there organizations that you're aligned with closely that are also using social media? And or is there somebody who you're sort of butt heads with every now and then that's using social media? And how are they using it? What sort of conversations are happening? What channels are they using? What's active? And also importantly, what isn't active? And then we get into what I think one of the biggest values of social media is, especially when it comes to advocacy and storytelling, is listening. And don't just listen. Don't just have a spreadsheet of mentions. Actually gather data on what people are saying and how they're talking about your organization. I think that's the most important part. So some of the things that you want to listen to, you want to listen to people, and you want to listen to their experiences. So that'll come in the form of complaints, compliments, tracking conversations to see if word of mouth is already happening, so if the conversation is spreading. And really getting a feel for who the influencers are and how social media is being used by these people. So this can often be lost when you get online, is that there still needs to be a focus on real people. So don't forget that you're not just tweeting into this vast open space. There are people on the receiving end of all of your communication. And this, I find, is most frequently lost when people or organizations are more focused on B2B, or engaging other organizations or influencing another business, charity, nonprofit, some sort of organization to take some action. It's not a business on the other end of the line, it's a person. So just keep that in mind when you're forming your communications. I'm sure everybody here knows that social media can be all-consuming. It's easy to get lost in it, to spend all of your time using social media. So the key here in planning your attack is from somebody that they respect, something that is meaningful. So make your story really something that'll hit home with them. And of course, make it believable. So people are skeptics, naturally. I know I am. I'm sure most of you are. They're not, inclined to believe everything that you have to say. So looking back at your audience, how are they going to trust what it is that you have to say? And why should they believe the stories that you're telling? So make sure once you've identified your audience, you know sort of how they like to communicate, identify what it is that they trust and how you can present your stories to them in a believable way. You want to make your stories real. Part of this, and this really hits home for a lot of nonprofits, is actually taking the time to gather in your stories. So you're doing a bunch of great work and having a really fantastic impact, but you don't always know what that impact is. So how do you get, wherever that impact is happening, how do you enable those people, whether it's through your organization or through your broader audience, how can you collect those stories? Because those are the stories, the real stories of things that are happening in real life. Those are the ones that are going to have the most impact. You want to make it visual. I think that this one, for a group of people that are in social media, is going to make a ton of sense. You know, use video, use photos, present your information in a very visually appealing way, whether that's through your website, using YouTube, sharing photos through Instagram, Twitter, whatever. Just make sure that it's visual. People are more likely to trust somebody when they can attach a face to the message. They're more likely to trust something that's happening when they can see that it's actually happening in the community. So, you know, when you're putting together your plan and gathering your stories, make it as visually appealing as you can. We were talking to somebody just before Christmas, actually, and they were struggling with how do they collect these great stories of the work that they're doing, that their charity, the impact their charity is having, when their audience is distributed all across Canada. So they are in a very fortunate position to have the involvement of a big telecom company. So we're encouraging them to get an iPhone or an iPad or something that can capture video into the hands of those charities, those groups that are actually doing the work. So they could just take a quick, video of what's happening when they're going out and giving out food at the food bank, or at the local Boys and Girls Club, helping build a playground. It doesn't have to be somebody from your organization that's necessarily doing this. Just enabling your champions to capture those stories for you. Now, obviously, not every charity can afford to put an iPad in everybody's hands, but there are much cheaper ways to capture that same video. And then figuring out the right way for them to get that information back to you. And then, of course, you have to inspire change, which is no big deal. Right? This is the easy part. Use the stories, use the mediums, use the visuals that are really going to inspire people to take that next step, to take action, to share your message, to tell their own story, whatever it is that change is. And then keep your audience on the edge of their seats. And this one doesn't always make sense to people that are working in social media, because it's such a real-time format, right? So it's like, why can't we just tell the story as it happens? But social media is also really good for releasing bits of the story across time, and that'll keep people coming back to your website or to your social channels to get the next little chunk of that story. So whether that's a blog series that's telling maybe it's the process for how you're achieving change, or telling the story of a family that is benefiting from your cause or your work, sort of unroll that story through a series instead of just getting it out there all at once. And don't forget that everybody is doing it. Everybody is sharing. Everyone is participating. So don't be afraid. Jump right in there and participate. Don't fall into silos. And so when I say silos, a lot of people think, okay, yeah, accounting, communications, marketing, business development, fundraising. Those aren't really the silos I'm talking about. I'm talking about online and offline. You have to work across the organization, all those different business areas as well for effective advocacy. But really incorporate online and offline. So, can you live stream an event? Can you live blog it? If you're going out and doing a community engagement session, how can you reflect that information back online in a way that's going to be engaging for your online audience? Because not everybody's going to be able to participate in everything you do, right? So how can you cross the online-offline boundary and make it as inclusive as possible? And of course you have to make the ask. There's no sense in participating in social media and investing the time and the money and doing it properly if you're not going to ask people to do something at the end. Now this will vary depending on your organization and what it is that you're trying to achieve, but everybody has an ask, whether it's to sign a petition, email an MP, make a donation, buy a product, whatever it is, identify what the ask is, and make it very specific. People aren't really as smart as you would hope that they would be. So if you're not clear on what you're asking them to do, then there's a good chance that they're not going to do it. Now, also, if you haven't told the good stories to convince them that your organization is one worthwhile supporting, they're also not going to follow through with your ask. So you have to make sure that your stories lead up to the point where when you ask them to do something, they're going to be on board. You also have to make it simple. Now, this kind of relates back to people not being as smart as you think they are, but people are also lazy. So they don't want to invest a ton of time. Sorry, I should clarify. Not everybody wants to invest a ton of time. There are some people that are going to be amazing champions for your cause, and they're going to invest a ton of time and energy into helping you achieve your goal, but not everybody's going to be there. Have you guys heard of the term slacktivist? Okay, slacktivist is, the person that's online who maybe they've signed up for your email newsletter or something, and that's it. They sort of endorse your cause, but they don't take a ton of time and energy to really share the story or participate. So when I talk about making it simple, I mean think about the least amount of activity you can ask somebody to take that would get the slacktivist to participate. So if that's one click to a survey, or it's one click to donate to the cause, what is the easiest way that you can get people to achieve your goal, your objective? Part of that is knowing where you want people to go and how you get them there. So is this going back to your website? Is this going? Are you trying to direct people to YouTube or somewhere to watch a video? Where is it that you want them to get to at the end of the process? Of course, as any storyteller will tell you that it's you have to be able to read the room. So be flexible and pay attention. If the stories you're telling are not working, if people aren't clicking that link to get to your website, if they're not watching your videos, try something else. Take a different approach, talk to a few more people, and try and create a few more stories. The great part about social media is that it's not the most expensive medium for creating those messages, right? So, and it's so quick that you can get that feedback fairly quickly. So if people aren't following your links, if they're not really embracing your information, make sure that you're paying attention and be willing to take that step in a different direction to change your approach. So part of that is making sure that you're monitoring. And there are lots of great tools out there, from Google Alerts to paid tools that allow you to be constantly monitoring the conversation to see how it's going. Make sure that you're always evaluating. So set certain points throughout your strategy where you're going to sit down, you're going to look back at what's working and see and evaluate whether or not those stories are working, or if that channel is really the right one to be focusing on. So make sure that you're evaluating in that sense. Assess the types of stories that are being shared. What are other people saying? Are they retweeting what you have to say? Are they sharing your videos? Assess your progress and again, be ready to change. So adapt your stories as needed. One of the other, I think I've said one of the most important things, probably a dozen times so far today, but one of the most important things in terms of creating a movement and really having inspired advocacy is supporting your champions. So, you'll have those people who are the ultra endorsers, that they're going to be involved any way that they can in your cause. Make sure that you really, really support those people. Give them the tools that they need to engage others, because they're the ones that will build that grassroots community. So what is it that they need in order to make that change happen? Have you guys heard of open media? So Open Media, the advocacy group, it's going up basically against the big telecom companies and CRTC to try and open up and make mobile and internet open and more accessible to Canadians. They've done a really, really good job of enabling community organizers, their ultra champions, to start those grassroots local groups and giving them the tools that they need to not just tell the story within their local community, but to get those people involved to help them achieve their goals. And when I mean goals, I mean the broader open media goals. And it's been one of the most successful advocacy campaigns, at least in Canada. They've had tens of thousands of people participate. It's easy, right? No problem. You guys are all going to go back to the office and just start doing this right away. I just want to leave you with a few more rules, and of course these are important too. Be honest, be transparent, always be transparent. We all know that you'll get called out in no time if you're not. Be generous. Don't be afraid to share. Don't be afraid to help other people out in order to get your story out. Encourage others to tell your story. Share. Be supportive. Be responsive. I'm not one of those people who believe that you have to instantly be responding to everything that happens on social media. I think that part of understanding your audience is knowing, and be able to manage your time is knowing, A, what's happening, and then how much time you have to respond. But I don't think it has to be, as soon as somebody says something negative, you don't have to necessarily respond right away. You have to take the time to format your response properly and get back to them in a timely fashion. More often than not, it's the response that makes people happy. It's not the amount of time. Be collaborative. When it comes to advocacy, the more voices, the louder you're going to be, the more impact that you're going to have. So collaborate with other organizations. Find people that have shared interests, and really, don't be afraid to work closely together. Of course, you have to listen and listen carefully. You have to provide value in everything you do and say in social media, or else nobody's going to pay attention. So this boils down to telling fantastic stories. This also boils down to giving some incentive to people to participate. So, for example, you often see this with crowdfunding, where if somebody gives a donation, they get depending on the level of donation, they have a level of prize for you to get. So you give $20, you get a T-shirt. You give $50, you get a watch, whatever it is. But you provide value, give people an incentive to participate. The other way that you can really incent people to share your message is not by saying forward to your friends. So you send them an email and ask them to send it to their entire email list. People aren't very likely to do that. But if you ask them to send it to 5 or 10 people who they think might be interested, then they're much more likely to share that message with those people, because and your message is going to have way more impact, because there'll be 5 or 10 people who their friend thinks would have a shared interest in the cause. So that's something to keep in mind as well. Make sure you invest the time. Everybody knows social media, developing a presence and creating a community does not happen overnight. So be ready to invest some time into the project. And of course you have to give a damn. And I mean, your passion and people's passion is absolutely contagious. So don't be afraid to share it. Give a damn about what it is that you're trying to achieve, and people are going to really appreciate that, and they're going to embrace that. And that's all I got. Thank you very much. 32 minutes.
That was cool. Yeah? Oh, wait, took a second to get going, eh? Any questions for Tim Shaw? Oh, question way over there. Can you belt her out?
Tim, I'm wondering what you do to suggest nonprofits for their technology needs. Like, a lot of this stuff I find depends on setting up certain, obviously you can set up Twitter and all that stuff easily, but in terms of background, like even building a blog and trying to amplify the stories through these channels, what do you suggest?
I suggest building your website on a blog platform like WordPress. so that you have the blog incorporated right into your website, and using that sort of as your home base. That allows you to tell longer stories, get more information out there, and really control the message. Because when you put something on your blog, you control what is said. You don't control the comments, but you at least have control of that part of the message. Then the rest of it, depending on really your budget, using tools like Hootsuite has some great, really inexpensive or free options. And that allows you to monitor Twitter and Facebook, and you can post to YouTube right from there. For fairly inexpensively, you can use that to collaborate across a team. The first thing that I recommend people do is sign up for Google Alerts. But then using Google Alerts and Hootsuite or another monitoring tool to really find where those conversations are happening, and then going from there, because that's going to drive, what social channels you decide to participate in. Well, yeah, and I mean, it comes down to knowing your audience. I mean, a lot of times email will still be it'll be the most impactful and meaningful tool that you have in your tool belt. So, just knowing your audience. Chat about that for sure.
All right, back there.
Just kind of timely, I think that the Live Strong brand as being a nonprofit, and that story is kind of come off the rails. So how would you suggest with a nonprofit handle that everywhere taking its own, I guess, personality? How would you bring it back to your story of the Live Strong brand?
Sure. So the question is about the Live Strong brand and how, obviously with the doping scandal, there's been some damage to the brand. How do we bring the conversation back to focus on the cause of the nonprofit? I think that Live Strong is actually in a very, very fortunate position to have a strong, strong brand, and people relate it with the cause. So for them, I think putting together they've done a really good job of telling the story up to this point about what it is that they stand for and the type of work that they're doing. But continuing to share that story, maybe putting a little bit of distance between them and Lance Armstrong, a bit, but bringing keep bringing it back to the story of the impact that they're having and why they're doing what they're doing and the impact that they've had so far. And actually, most of the coverage I've seen of Live Strong, people are, basically saying that Lance Armstrong is irrelevant, that they don't really care about him anymore. But the Live Strong brand and what they're working on, what they're doing, is still very much intact. People respect it a lot, and will still support it for what they're doing. So they're, I mean, not your typical nonprofit, right? So a lot of nonprofits wouldn't have that brand strength and would have to really be careful about bringing the message back to the impact that they're having and engaging those people that are still champions to stand up and defend them. I actually heard that McDonald's, when Super Size Me came out, that they prepared key messages and info points that went out to all of their employees. So if somebody came up to the cash register and started asking questions about Super Size Me and whether or not McDonald's was healthy, every single one of their employees was ready and armed with the information to respond properly to those questions. So make sure that you get the right information into your champion's hands so that everybody can stand up for your cause that they believe in.
Sorry. Take it back.
Sorry, just a quick question. Can you go over what you meant by don't fall into silos? As you said, going across the online and offline boundaries.
Yeah, so the question is about clarifying what I mean by don't fall into silos. So it's got a couple of different meanings, right? You have to approach it in a couple of different ways. The best advocacy initiatives, they work across all divisions of an organization. So basically what that boils down to is everybody needs to be on board. Right? So the other part of breaking or don't fall into silos is incorporating your online and your offline activities. So how do you engage your online audience if you're doing a community event, or how do you engage people who aren't able to come to an event online? So how do you cross those boundaries? If it's live streaming, live blogging, taking questions from Twitter, whatever that might be. Any more questions? All right, well, I'll be around for a while after this drinking coffee, so if anybody wants to come up and chat, I'm here. Thank you.
Very cool, good job. Amplify is his organization in Toronto and in Calgary, and you can find him at Amplify, or find the organization at amplify.ca, or Twitter handle Shaw_Tim. Anybody want to share any good tidbits on storytelling? Anybody wants to share any good tidbits that they picked up today?
To be honest and generous and engaging your audience into becoming champions so that they'll share your story with others.
Wow, you were shaking your head at me like you had nothing to say, and that was fantastic. Okay, cool. Well, Tim's going to be around. Again, if you want to get involved with Social Media Breakfast, you can. I was watching the Twitter feed, and a lot of people were freaked out because all of a sudden there was cameras in here, so I saw a whole bunch of people just sit up straight and stop picking their nose, and the camera's up here, so it's all good. Thanks so much for coming out today, and I think we can hang around here for a while, eh, Jeff? Oh, wait, we've got something cool to give away. Sorry.
I would like to announce that we have a special gift for Tim Shaw on behalf of WURST.
Special gift for Tim Shaw on behalf of WURST. What is it? This is Julie.
This is a boot of coffee. So if you want to hashtag coffee boot.
Now, so this here is a boot of coffee, and I'm sure you could fill it with anything that you want. Is it a tradition, Tim? Do you have to drink this whole thing before you leave?
I will absolutely explode if I do that.
That's fantastic. Well, you've never seen a boot of coffee. We've got one right here. Oh, look at that. What a champ. Yeah. All right, that's cool. Thanks so much to Elevate Auctions for sponsoring this today. Thanks so much to WURST Calgary for having us. And have a lovely rest of your Friday day.